Welcome, everyone, and I'm glad you're here. This is the space that was created for us, by us, and I want to welcome you guys to the sanctuary. This podcast is an extension of what we have built with our own hands, me and my partners, a coffee business. And it was born from a simple idea that everybody deserves an open space for themselves to express themselves, their thoughts, their emotions, and their ideas. A place where the ritual of a premium cup of coffee can be the ticket to peace, clarity, and ultimately discernment. And just like that space, this podcast is designed to be that type of haven for those conversations. The hard ones, the difficult ones, the ones that nobody wants to talk about. There's no mask. There's no performance. There's no expectation. Just the raw truth. And today, we're starting with the big one. Very, very big one. We're going to be talking about the blueprint that we've all been handed. A blueprint that's more than just a cage built on a foundation. It's the myth that we've all been led to believe, which is the myth of the strong black man. From the moment that we're born, we're told that a black man's strength relies in his silence. It relies in him being stoic. Now, this translates across all races and all ethnicities. But for this episode, we're particularly discussing this myth. It's in his ability to endure and to suffer in silence, to carry the weight of his responsibilities on his shoulders and not to speak a word about them. And as boys growing up, we received it 10 times more. The expectation was 10 times more to endure the pain, the struggle, the frustration. Because in our communities, there's no such thing as depression or anxiety. Individuals are quick to swallow a pill before they can swallow their pride and admit that they're struggling or that they're suffering. So we see this from generation to generation, from our fathers to our uncles to the man on the side of the street. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, and they do it all in silence. They never speak a word about it because that's their expectation. Now, if we think about it, this isn't just a modern day problem or a modern day expectation. It's a survival mechanism that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Because in order to not be perceived as a threat to our fellow brothers and sisters of all races, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, we have to keep it in check. And the only way we could keep it in check is by being silent. So from the fields to the streets, our ancestors had to be emotionally in check in order to survive. Slow to emotion, slow to show vulnerability, because all those things back then could equal a death sentence. But what was once a tool that was used as a survival mechanism has now become the modern day black man's prison. It is our tomb. It is what suffocates us from being who we are meant to be. Because there is no room for anxiety or depression or fear or frustration or anguish. There's no room for any of these emotions. This isn't a form of controlled strength or averting aggression. We've been conditioned to believe that our values lie in our resilience and suffering. It has been made cool that the black man's struggle is something to be idolized, that suffering is viewed as being the next most important thing. Now, I see an issue with this. You probably don't, or some do, or some don't. But our worth is in our ability to hold it all together, no matter what the cost is to ourselves. Lack of sleep, lack of connection, lack of ability to decompress. And if we can't, we feel like failures. We feel as though we've let everyone around us down. Family members, co-workers, friends, the neighbors, the cat, the dog, the bird, and the bees. The entire community has been let down. And who do we hate the most for it? Ourselves. We struggle to cope with our own failures, and it makes it that much more difficult to climb out of that hole. But what does this myth truly cost us? And let's be real about it. It costs us our peace of mind, our health, our sanity, our relationships. Mentally, it's a pressure cooker. We suffer in silence from anxiety that feels like a weight sitting on our shoulders. 1,000-pound plate of depression and anxiety just suffocating us. That makes it hard to get out of bed. That makes it hard for us to go to work. That makes it hard for us to be emotionally connected to the ones that need us the most. And once we finally hit the breaking point, and we don't seek the help that we're supposed to, we internalize that as an act of surrendering. We view it that if we have to ask for help from anyone or anybody, and if we admit that we're in a place of struggle, we have surrendered and we have lost. Now, this might be true for individuals who decide to play the victim, who make excuses, who cry and complain about their situations and do nothing about them. I am not talking about that man. I'm talking about the man who puts in the work 24/7, 365, and he is suffering because he does not know how to manage this. Physically, stressed out, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, premature aging. These are all problems in all communities, especially the Black community. Our bodies are coarse with cortisol, and our minds and our bodies are telling us to slow down, but we can't, because the burden that we carry seems to outweigh that innate desire to stop and to slow down. Because our minds are just bottled up in this myth that this is the way it is. And in our own relationships, the ones with our partners, our kids, our friends, our family, it affects them because we can't express how we truly feel. It makes it that much harder to connect with our partners on a deep, intimate level. And it's tough to build real partnerships and friendships because you feel as though you just can't trust anybody. Because as soon as you do, you've lost. So you wear a mask everywhere, to work, to the grocery store, home, to the neighbors, to everyone around you, because you don't want them to see who you are. So today we're here to start that work of taking off the mask and showing who you really are. The name of this podcast, The Sanctuary. Why did I name it The Sanctuary? For the exact same reason why I've been talking to you guys for the past 10 plus minutes. A sanctuary is a place of refuge. A place to feel safe, free of expectation. It is a place where communication about your anxieties, your fears, your frustrations, the things you can't control, the outcomes you weren't able to influence. This is that place. A refuge where you're not judged on one action, but the totality of all actions. This is not a podcast about blaming our past. I mentioned this earlier. It's not about playing victim. It's not about crying. It's not about complaining. It's not about saying poor me or what this race or this ethnicity has before me or what things they have achieved. We're not talking about that. Because all that's just doing is just making excuses. And I'm tired of fucking excuses. This podcast is designed to help us understand more about ourselves so that we can build a better future. It's about asking ourselves, what is our strengths? What are our values? What things do I hold dear to me? While also at the same time asking yourself, where am I lacking? Where are some of my weaknesses? Where are my blind spots at? And then the biggest question is, am I even brave enough to tackle these things? Am I even brave enough to unpack all of this nonsense that I've been carrying around, all this junk in the trunk, all this baggage? Am I willing to unpack that in order to start healing so that I can do better and be better for those around me? What if the true power comes from being emotionally intelligent, not emotionally driven? Becoming self-aware, and having the courage to say, I'm not doing well right now, and I need help. But the help that I'm asking for isn't a handout. I'm asking for you to teach me how to provide for myself. This podcast will be a journey. And we'll talk about some pretty tough things. And we will address some pretty strong topics that drive a lot of controversy, discussion, and debate. We're talking about building a brotherhood, a community in which we all help one another be better. This is not just to talk about my day went well, my day didn't go well. We're talking about our financial struggles, our marital struggles, our struggles with our children, our family members. We're actively seeking guidance from those who have walked the path before us and who is planning on walking the path behind us. Our goal is to create a new blueprint for the black manhood, manhood in general. A blueprint that replaces being stoic with being vulnerable. Silence with self-expression. And isolation with community and connection. So in closing, I want to leave you with this simple thought. The next time you think you're being strong by being silent, being quiet, being sheltered, closed off, not reaching out, not checking in on one another, I want you to remember everything that we've discussed. Remember this conversation. Remember this video. And I want you to give yourself the permission to be human, to connect, to be open. Your strength is not in what you're able to cover up and hide. Your strength is in the ability to be brave and to start the process of healing. So, with all that being said, I want to thank you guys once again. Be sure to join us next week as we dive into another layer of this journey, because this is an onion and we're going to be peeling back all kinds of layers, because that's what's needed in order to get to the root of your problems. And until then, take a deep breath. Find your quiet place. Find your community. Find your tribe. Find your sanctuary. And in doing all that, you'll find peace beyond all understanding. So thank you once again. This was The Sanctuary.